Welcome back to virtual UC Berkeley for the next in our series of trying to understand a rapidly changing world by bringing the research enterprise, the Division of Social Sciences, out to you. Today I'm joined by one of my good friends, Professor Ted Miguel, faculty member in Berkeley Economics. He is also the faculty director of CEGA, the Center for Effective Global Action, one of the foremost research efforts in development economics. First off, Ted, thanks for taking a few minutes to help us understand what's going on relative to your work. But let me start by congratulating you on your induction in the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, just announced in the last couple of days. So congratulations to you. And can you tell us, what does that mean for a faculty member to get that call? What is that like?
Thanks a lot, Christian. First of all, it's great to be here with you and you know, to have this conversation. It was an unexpected honor and a wonderful honor to be brought into the American Academy. The Academy is a group of scholars whose work has been recognized as being influential, having impact. So for me, when I got that call, it meant that colleagues of mine, senior colleagues who are also established scholars, felt like my research was having impact and was doing something positive. So I was just thrilled by it, and it was an incredible honor.
Congratulations again. So tell us a little bit about what this means in development economics. Obviously, a lot has changed in the last 2 months. Most of your work is in Africa, where economies were growing. What does this impact look like for them? What can we expect to see in the region, and what are the impacts there that may be unique to that part of the world, the developing world, that we may not understand where we live?
Well, you're totally right that the COVID-19 crisis has really affected African societies and economies, just like it's affected us. African economies have been growing rapidly. They've had a good 20 years of economic growth now. There's been a lot of change and transformation in the region. I think there's a lot of uncertainty about exactly what COVID-19 means in the long run, but certainly in the short run, it's been disruptive. There's been lockdowns in many African countries, most African countries like we've had here. So in the country of Kenya, where I've done most of my work, schools are not in session, businesses are closed, they're restricting movement of people in and out of the big cities like Nairobi or Mombasa, and it's disrupted a lot of people's lives. Of course, the situation is different in an African setting than here, just because such a large share of the population in African societies live on only a few dollars a day. So when there is an economic disruption, there's a lot of people that don't have much of a buffer in terms of savings. They don't have many options. So when they can't work, it really threatens their very not just their livelihood, but their ability to feed themselves. So I think there's a lot of desperation right now in Kenya because of the lockdown. There's been some discussion just in the last few days about reversing some aspects of the lockdown, because there's a fear that the economic consequences will be so severe for such a large share of the population.
And what will this mean for your work and CEGA's work over the summer? Obviously a time where people head out and get ready to do some research in the field that will be, for the most part, impossible this summer. So what will your work look like? And in particular, there's been some successes through CEGA researchers, particularly with immunizations. Does that continue? Are people more receptive in that part of the world now to receiving immunizations? And what will you and your researchers' work look like over the course of the next few months?
Yeah, so certainly for us, it's going to change our work a lot. The way we carry out field work in, say, Kenya or other East African settings is we have permanent Kenyan field staff who are collecting data, and that's the data that we use in our statistical analyses. At the same time, there's a lot of collaboration between teams at Berkeley and our Kenyan field staff and research staff. So over time, there's more and more research done in Kenyan by Kenyans who have statistical training, as well as being done at Berkeley. So we have a very strong collaboration. What's going to be different about this summer in particular is we're not going to be able to go out in the field to collect data the way we usually do. We usually make contact with our survey respondents and we survey them in person. We meet with them, we collect the data we want to collect on their business, on their household, economic situation, on education, whatever it is we're collecting data on, field teams are locked down. They can't be moving around collecting data. It's just like it is here, where folks are basically sheltering in place. What we've done is very turned around our field teams to be carrying out phone surveys. So they're very often surveying the same people, but because something like 80 to 90% of even rural Kenyans have cell phones, we're actually able to continue collecting data by phone. We just can't go out and meet people in person. So we've had to sort of reinvent ourselves, kind of like how I think all of us have learned Zoom and we've been reinventing our workflow from home. We've had our field teams at their homes with devices and tablets and laptops collecting data from respondents over the phone. So that's been a big change. It's certainly going to be a big change for the Berkeley side, just because we're so used to, we have this tradition of having Berkeley PhD students mainly spend extended periods of time in the field, spending a whole summer in the field, working on projects, developing new questions, collecting data, analyzing data. And it's basically a rite of passage for development economists to spend months or years in the field. It's part of what we do and how we learn about the societies that we're working in. And actually, I have plans to have somewhere between 8 to 10 graduate students at Berkeley who are working with me go to the field this summer. Obviously, those plans have changed. They can't be going to Kenya over the summer to be working on projects. What they're going to be doing is what I'm going to be doing. We're going to be here, at least for the next couple months, on lots of Zoom calls and phone calls, coordinating very closely with our close friends and partners in the field to make sure we're asking the right questions, we're asking questions the right way, we're getting the data that we want, and then working on the analysis. So it's been a big change, but I know we're up to it. We've already made a lot of the changes we need to make. And I'll hope that those PhD students will have future opportunities, in the fall or the winter or next summer, once the health crisis has eased.
Really highlights the importance of building strong relationships out in the field where you're doing that research. Thank you for everything that you're doing. Please stay in touch and let us know what you need, and best of luck in continuing things over the course of this summer, and best wishes for you and your family. Stay safe, and I hope we can get out on the road together again soon.
Thanks, Christian. It's been great to chat with you as always, and I look forward to meeting up with you and others on our beautiful campus before too long. I miss being in Berkeley. I really do.
So do I. Thanks, Ted, and we'll talk to you soon.